All right, Ben Wilson, thank you for joining us. It is June 2013, and we are talking about VWS, the Noise Pro, and 2013 for you guys. Tell us a little bit about the new kite.
Yeah, it's been a long time in the making, 2 years to be exact. We had a really clear vision of what we wanted to achieve with this kite, and we're really stoked that we've got it to that point, and it's now out on the market and it's available for people to use. We've already got a couple of hundred kites out there. We've had really, really great feedback, and that's the most important thing to us is that our consumers are stoked.
Congrats, well, nice work. I know I've heard a lot of good things. I had some pretty fun sessions on them already in a bunch of different conditions. Tell me, through your eyes, what are the main differences between the Noise Pro and the Noise V2? What did you guys change up?
Yeah, look, we wanted to keep the same or similar foundation to what we already had. We love the existing kite, but for us, there was a few things, that we've been working on from the very beginning that we wanted to make even better. For us, we're never satisfied.
Right.
We always want to make our products better, so we're always on the search for perfection, per se. Dan O.C., my partner and the head designer for BWS, he just does not stop. At some point we have to draw a line in the sand and go, all right, we've got to sign this off. For us, there was a number of things we wanted to make better with this new kite. One of them was, the overall build and construction. Being in the surf, we want to have the strongest product out there. So when your kite does go down in the waves, you have the best chance for it surviving. The other things were we wanted it to be 25% faster in turning. We wanted it to be 25% lighter in bar pressure. When you are doing, direction changes with your kite or pivot turns with your kite, in certain parts of the wind window, you get like a stall sensation where it gives you a little bit of a pull. We wanted to eliminate this because for us, it's the most important thing when you're actually turning your kite on the waves, but it doesn't affect the actual turn that you're trying to do on the waves. So,
Gotcha.
In saying that, riding the Noise Pro, and the reason why we called it the Noise Pro is because we really feel like this kite can take, an average rider to that next level. It's not that you need to be a pro rider to ride this kite. That's not the case at all. What we're trying to do, or what we tried to, and we believe we have created with this kite, is a kite that you're going to go out there and it's going to let you focus on riding the wave and doing what you want to do on the wave in terms of turns and all the rest of it, with not having to worry about what the kite's doing, because the kite's just going to sit there in the position that you put it, and it's not going to hinder, any of your wave riding.
Hey, it's interesting. Talking about having that smooth pull and being pulled off position on the wave. I think it's probably fair to say you guys are the only people in the world that are even thinking about that in terms of creating a kite that doesn't pull you off in that way. I've never had anybody else talk about it like that before, which is pretty cool. It's cool to hear.
For us, for me personally, the bottom turn in surfing or kiting is the most important thing because it sets you up for what you want to do next.
Yep, I agree.
And, with most kites out there and most people, whether you can do a good bottom turn or a bad bottom turn, the way that you send your kite in the direction, to start to do the bottom turn, usually it's not so much about the kite, it's just more about your experience and how good you can do a bottom turn. And the kite's going to sort of float with that for the first part of the bottom turn. But then when you come back up the wave to actually do your turn, your top turn, a re-entry or whatever, that's where things usually go wrong. So you get up to the top of the wave and you want to do a direction change with your body. That's where it's at some point you can potentially start fighting against the kite. And that's what we wanted to eliminate. We wanted to make sure when you come up to do the turn that you want to do, that the kite is not going to fight against you and it's going to work with you so you can, complete that turn properly without getting yanked off the wave or getting a pull or whatever.
I hear you. That makes sense. So you mentioned a little bit about any level riders being able to jump on the kite. Have you had any experience with beginners riding the new Noise Pro, and how did they get on with it?
Yeah, we've already had a bunch of our kites in our schools as part of our test phase. I've personally been riding the kite for the signed off kite for 6 months before we even, put it out a couple of months ago, which is really important to us. And this is the thing that's always made, I believe, has always made our kites great beginner kites, is because when you're in the waves, you're not looking for this super technically advanced product. You're just looking for a product that gets you from point A to point B, which is catching your wave. And then once you get on the wave, you just want that kite to sit perfectly in the air so you can ride the waves. So
Gotcha.
I believe this makes it the perfect beginner kite because it's just user-friendly. It's simplicity. It's not doing all these crazy things. It's just doing, the nice subtle things that you need it to do. It has a good constant pull. It turns nicely. It sits nicely in the window. Therefore, it makes it an easy kite for anybody to jump on. I would be personally surprised if, somebody, jumped on the kite and they're like, oh my God, like it's just crazy doing this and crazy doing that or whatever. It's not the case because it's not what you want it to do on a wave.
Little quick question for you, just talking about the US market and what we have here in the US conditions. We have a lot of people in the US have more side-on conditions. Now, when you're riding perfect sideshore conditions, most kites will sit and drift straight down the line without you turning them. That's a kind of a given. We know that. But I feel like one of the things you guys are chasing, I know a lot of your team riders are involved in these kind of conditions, are when it's side-on and you're moving the kite a lot more and that's when people are having the problems with underrunning the kite, or that's when worrying about the kite is ruining people's sessions when they're not able to actually surf when there are waves. How does the new Noise Pro kind of cope with those kind of conditions inside on shore?
Yeah, look, let's be honest. Side on shore is the most common condition, throughout the whole world. It's what I ride in every day.
Right.
But it's also the hardest condition to ride in.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so at some point it doesn't matter, what kite you're going to ride. Okay, unless you understand the foundation of where your kite needs to be and, how it needs to work in side on shore conditions, you're always going to struggle. That's the first thing you need to focus on. The second thing is, this is where the kite comes into it. Backstalling is the worst problem people have, with riding in side on shore conditions, okay? And this was the biggest thing, for us. We were like, okay, what's most important to us? And like I explained before, was the turning, that pivot turning, and then also making sure it has a good, consistent turn throughout any part of the window. What that then does is it eliminates the backstalling. For me, there's nothing worse than trying to do a turn and you're halfway through the turn and then your kite's stalling backwards out of the window.
Sucks.
So, we put a lot of energy into this, and we, we really found in terms of, how you position the bridle on the kites, how the kites sit in the window, and all these, little determining factors really make a huge difference in terms of how that kite's going to sit. So, I'm really proud to say on, Dano's behalf that, he's done an incredible job in translating, what I want and all our team riders want in those conditions and putting it into the kite. And, like I said, that's what we mostly ride in, is side on shore conditions. So that's what a lot of our testing's done in. And I'm really stoked, with where the kite's at this point.
Traditionally, BWS kites have always sized up big, but I know these new ones are a little different. Is that about right?
So somebody who's just, looking, for a really, small quiver, something that can work in every condition, we're sort of saying, hey, you only need 2 kites.
Right.
That's all we really need. For guys who are traveling and, a little bit more into it, this and that, you can always add the 3rd kite to your quiver. But, for us, it's like, keep it simple. You have a big kite and a little kite. Your big kite when it's light and your little kite when it's windy.
Right.
Okay, that's sort of, and grab your surfboard and go. That's all you need.
Right.
That's our story. With the new kites, they're basically the same sizing as the old kites.
Okay.
The only difference that I would say is the old kites have a little bit more sort of low end sort of truck pull. Okay, when the wind's really light. But the new kites still have this same pull, but they don't feel like they have that same pull because the bar pressure's a little bit lighter, and they don't have that sort of depth of sort of low end truck pull.
Okay.
They still have the same amount of power. Now, where it's really exciting with the new kites is on the other end. So in super windy conditions, they have so much more range than the old kites. So I wouldn't, like if you're on an 8 meter kite at the moment and you're loving it, I wouldn't say, hey, go and buy a 10 meter kite because that's what you need. If you're saying Swedish 8 meter kite, I'm saying get an 8 meter kite.
Okay. Good to know.
It's the same thing, and it's keeping it simple. And yeah, when you do get on the new 8 meter kite, you probably do need to turn it a couple of times more to get it going because it doesn't have that low end pull. But ultimately, once you get up and going, it still has the same amount of power.
Killer. Well, that helps a lot of people out with their sizing. Okay, coming on 15 minutes. I think we should call it to a close. We could talk about this all day, but it's fascinating for you and I. Hopefully, everyone else enjoyed listening to it and is stoked to get out and try the kites. Ben, thank you so much for joining us. Look forward to taking some sessions with you soon. And congrats on all the work. We're really excited about it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And it's an open book anytime. I love chatting with you guys. And yeah, for anybody who wants more info, jump on realwatersports.com and check it out.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.